Welcome back, everyone, to our Let's Play series of Open Wheel Manager. And a quick look at our championship standings. We are 8th and 14th with a total of 22 points. On the driver's side, the team side, we are in 5th position and looking quite nice in that 5th or 6th position right now, given our performance versus what we've seen from some of the other cars and teams. So we noticed that Forca Orange, 11 points in the last race, so they certainly beat us out there. But race number 3 is what really hurt them. They didn't get any points. So we've been pretty steady the last few races, to the point that I am very excited about where we're going in the future. So if you take a look at the bottom of the screen, we have a test session coming up, which we're not terribly worried about. But we've got a few weeks here before we have our next race weekend, which is going to be in the U.S. Grand Prix. And so that's going to give us some time to do a few things. We know that we got projects in development that will continue. If we take a look at development, it doesn't appear as though we're going to be able to get the brakes finished before this race weekend. It's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. It would be nice if it did, though. So it's possible we might get to the brakes by then. However, the big thing, if we take a look at the team overview, is we have 1 week remaining till we get more designers and more engineers. So that is awesome. That is a great thing because that's going to mean that we're going to have more staff in each of these areas. We'll go from 39 to, I forget the number right now, but we'll find out very shortly because I'm going to hit continue. So we'll go from 39 to what? 52. 52 staff in each of these. Each of these are now up to a level 4. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the engineers once again. 25 weeks remaining on this. So this is going to be a much more of a long-term thing. And okay, so we want these engineers moving along as much as we possibly can because that affects our development speed. So now if we take a look, we are at 89. So this is much better. This is why I thought we had a shot at getting the brakes done. I wasn't sure with the extra staff just how much of a difference it would make. And you can see it's going to be good. It's going to be very good. You can see our staff, 50 out of 50. We can only have a maximum of 50 staff on any one part at one time. And we have a total of 52 staff. So that puts a couple of guys here on the next product in line. So let's take a look at our projects. Same thing here, maximum of 50. So we're in good shape. We want to continue to increase those numbers so that we can get parts out faster and faster. All right, so now let's take a look at where we are. We're finishing up steering and electronics, which will be the second iteration of each of those. Now let's see. We've got, as far as parts and pieces, let's do side pods. That will be the third iteration there. Same thing with cooling. And all right, that's all we can do now. I want to go back to steering and electronics before it's all said and done. But things are looking good as far as where we are in the season. We're on week 21, and things are looking quite nice. On the development side of things, we just finished up side pods. Let's go do a new part there and add those to the list. Okay, so side pods, then it was cooling. Actually, before that, so we'll go ahead and queue that up as well. And then gearbox. We also need to get that gearbox up and running so that we can make... Oh, wow. We have totally missed out on that gearbox. We didn't make the second one. Ouch. Okay, that's my bad. Let's go ahead and move this up the queue because I actually want it to be done. Let's go ahead and move it up to second right now. Okay, good. Wow, that is... I hate that I did that. It's so easy to get these things mixed up. I need a mod that will, as soon as a project completes, it will automatically add it into development because it is so easy for me to forget. I'm going to go ahead and do another gearbox, another third iteration gearbox, because this will be the last we'll probably work on the gearbox this year, probably. Never know, though. Okay, so development, we've now got plenty queued up. Projects, we've got plenty queued up. And so KERS set up. Let's now come back in and take a quick look. All right, so before our next race, we should have brakes ready to go. Let's go ahead and click continue. Again, I'm not terribly concerned about these results because we've seen that they're not indicative of where we finish in the races. Okay, there we go. So we actually got done with another project there. Well, let's come in under development. That was steering. So I'm going to come back down and we're going to add steering in here. And then under projects, we're going to go back down and add third iteration on the steering. Okay, good. Very good, in fact. Brakes are now done. You notice in development, brakes have been completed. So now we're going to start work on the gearbox, which is going to be great. That's going to be a nice upgrade for us going from iteration 1 all the way to 3. All right, that is, wow, that's really good. Okay, so now let's go to our car setup and let's find our brakes. And let's go ahead. And so now we're picking up about 6 or 7 in performance, the quality, reliability, very nice. And of course, it's even lighter. That is always a good thing. So both cars pick up some nice performance gains. Let's take a quick glance and make sure everything else is where it needs to be. You notice our condition is 100 on all of these since we've had now a couple of weeks to work through all of this. Okay, looks like we're in good shape there. As far as development, it's going to take a couple more weeks. So these, we might have a new gearbox by the time we get to France. We'll have to see, but that looks like how it's going to line up. Okay, ready for the next race weekend. And you can see we're moving through these projects very quickly. 50 staff, and it takes a total of 50 to do it. So we can do one of these per week right now. So I don't really see much reason to continue upgrading unless we figure out as we get toward the end of the year that we've just got a lot of extra money that we're not going to need. Then we can really crank up the staff levels and or the salary that we're paying these guys. All right, so what we just got done with were side pods. So let's see, side pods. Let's go ahead and do third iteration there. And in fact, for side pods, let's go ahead and do a couple of those. Since we skipped by iteration number 2, apparently. Oh, no, there it is, right there. So let's just go ahead and get rid of this one. Yeah, let's go ahead and just do that. That will be perfectly fine. Now, I do want to move this gearbox down one since that'll be for car number 2. This is the one we're really interested in. So it looks like this one's going to be finished up during this week and should be ready when we go to France. So that's good. All right, so let's take a look at where we are. We've got 3 iterations on most everything, or at least we will once we finish up our existing queue. All right, so it looks like we need third iteration electronics. And let's see, steering. Okay, and that should be it. And then I think we'll go back to the suspension. And then we'll go front wing, rear wing, and then underbody. And we'll just start working on our 4th iteration of those parts. Okay, let's go ahead and head to the race. All right, qualifying 6th and 15th. Okay, not bad. The 6th position, I really like that. We're slotting in nicely and getting some nice points that way. All right, so let's see what we've got. USA, 75 laps. And let's see, that would give us 25 lap stints if we want to do a two-stopper. We really don't need, let's see, the medium tires, we can go 30 laps. You notice it shows the tire life is 34 laps for them, which means we can go a longer distance. So if we try to do 30 laps with the medium tire and then do soft tires after that, that's not bad. So if we did 30, that would get us down to about 22, 23 laps. And I'm trying to get down below this 24 because it is very close. And I mean very close. Okay, I think we can, let's try to shoot for 22 laps. That'll get us to lap 44. And then we'll need to do 31 laps on the medium. And that will push these tires to the limit. So let's go ahead and do... let's go ahead and give him just a touch extra fuel. There we go. We'll do 23 laps in this first stint. Hopefully we can make it that far. All right, so 23 laps there. And let's see. We're going to do a one stop here, which means that we're going to need to go about 30. Wow, this is going to be touch and go on this one. I'm not sure how I want to play this. This is going to be a lot of laps. I mean, we're going to need to go like 37 and 38 laps on these. The tire life is pretty good. I was hoping I might be able to get it down to where we could use the medium tire, but I'm just not seeing it. So let's go ahead and give him, 38 laps. That is our fuel. So we're not going to be pushing fuel, I don't think, particularly on Colin. And let's get him on the hard tire and get this race started. Okay, once again, we'll let the lights go out and the race begin. All right, so first pit stop, lap 23. And so that's going to get us to, yeah, that should be good. 40. Let's see. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. We don't need quite that much. All right, we want to go to another 23 laps. All right. 24. Okay, that'll be perfect. We'll put on our second set of soft tires. And so that'll be at lap 23. Okay, then at around lap 46. Okay, so we'll need about 30 laps out of this stint. Let's go ahead and do 32 laps of fuel. Hopefully that'll allow us to actually push a little bit on the engine in that last stint. Okay, so hopefully I did all my math right there in my head. And so now let's set up our pit stop for Colin. We're going to be coming in at lap 37, I believe was the plan. All right, we're going to put the full fuel load in there as well. And again, we're going to hope that that gives us enough to actually push a little bit at the very end of each of our stints, but we'll have to find out. What I do know right now is that we really can't push the tires for Vincenzo, but we could push a little bit for Colin. I believe that is going to be possible. We'll use this first stint for him, the first half of the race, to really see how his tire wear goes and how the fuel goes for both of these cars, and that'll give us a better indication of how much, if at all, we're going to be able to push with these guys. If we have to leave them at, no aggression whatsoever, then I don't think we're going to have the pace to probably stay in the top 7, maybe top 8. But if we can push at least on the engine for the fuel, then I think we can get enough engine power to move our way into the top 6 or 7. That's the way I see this playing out, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I will be pleasantly surprised. So right now, you notice I'm not worrying too much about the important parts section for each of the races, and that's because this is season 1, and for the first season, maybe even a season and a half to 2 seasons, my focus is just going to be getting our car as best overall as it can be. I'm not trying to win the championship in season 1 or season 2. I'm just trying to build something for the future. And right now, we're able to get, looks like we're going to get at least 3 and in some cases 4 iterations of parts done pretty early in the season. So that's looking good for car development over the course of a season. That actually seems really quick to me to be able to get new parts, and new parts that are as much better than the previous parts as they are. So that's pretty quick to get all that done. That might need to be tweaked as time goes on. For those people who want a more lengthy and more of a grind to try to take a bottom tier team up to a championship level. But I think that's where mods are going to come in and really be very helpful to this game so that we can start to tailor things to our own personal taste and our own personal desires and what we want out of this game. That is going to be huge going forward. If you have a lot of mod support, which there appears that there's going to be from the developer side, and then you have a lot of modders that are interested in actually releasing mods, then this game could very well have a long shelf life. All right, so far, not pushing on either car, we're looking pretty good. We're at 7th and 17th. Not great for Colin, but certainly better than I might have expected that he would be, given that we're not pushing. But you notice that Vincenzo, I mean, he is certainly holding his own. He's not getting any pressure from behind right now, and in fact, appears to be closing up a little bit on, not that lap, but closing up on the 9 car immediately in front of him. So that's good. That is very good. In fact, we were basically even with 8th position, a little bit faster than 9th. So those guys don't seem to be making up a lot of time on us. We'll see what happens as we come around to finish up lap 7. We'll see what the lap times look like. Look at these guys down in the 16s. They are pushing really hard, which is not a bad strategy. Maybe doing a couple of soft tire stints and then going straight to the hard tire for a very long stint at the end, maybe. Who knows? But they are moving very quickly here at the first of the race. All right, there we go. So we're basically even out with Sebastian in car number 9 in front of us and a little bit faster than the cars behind us. So we're pulling out a lead, a bit of a gap on car 19 behind us, and certainly a gap on 9th and 10th positions. All right, I like what I'm seeing. Again, 23 laps in this first stint for Vincenzo. We're sitting at about 70% tire after 9 laps, or on the 9th lap. Not bad. Not bad. So by the time he finishes up this 9th lap, we're going to be somewhere around 2/3 tire remaining. So 1/3 of the tire has been used up, and we're almost halfway through the stint. Not quite. So that's a pretty good ratio. That tells me that by the time we get down to the last couple of laps, to somewhere around lap 20, 21, that we might be able to go ahead and push with him. Also, fuel appears to be doing really well. Looks like we've got a couple of extra laps in the tank, which also might allow us to push as we get down closer. So that's kind of what I'm looking at as we go through the race. There's a lot going on the screen, and I find myself spending most of my time watching lap times, trying to see if we're faster or slower than the cars around us. And it looks like we're basically holding serve 6th through 8th position. So, and of course, we're right in the center of that. So we're not really making up a lot of ground on 6th. but at the same time, we're not really losing any ground on 8th either. And then I spend a lot less time looking at Colin because he just doesn't have the speed either as a driver or in the car itself because he has lesser components than Vincenzo. So his lap time certainly would let you know that he doesn't have the pace that Vincenzo has. But overall, he's fitting in pretty good. It looks like based on lap times, and again, notice the tire that we're using. A lot of hard tires here at the back, but I don't really see any hard tires. Actually, we are the highest running car with hard tires on there. So that's interesting. We'll have to see how that plays out. But it looks like we might be able to get up and gain maybe 4 or 5 spots if all goes well. We don't have any mechanical failures or anything like that. That is certainly looking like a possibility. Okay, let's take a quick look in the top left-hand corner where we got our mini map. And once again, we look pretty good. I shuffle from there right over to the lap times. Not so much concerned about the best laps because that depends on whether or not you're pushing, what tire you have on, and so on. So I'm not terribly worried about that. I'm more interested in our lap-by-lap pace. And it seems like, once again, we are right in there together, 6th through 8th. And it shows on the track because we're keeping a pretty steady distance between the 3 cars. If we look up to 5th, he is right now in a different zip code than we are. He is about a half second per lap faster on equal tires. Both of us on soft tires. So we'll see. We're getting closer. Around 15 to 17 is when I would expect 2-stop strategies to start, just depending on what tire selection you're going to use for the length of these stints. But I would expect to start seeing some of these pit stops over the next lap or two. So we're starting lap 16, and you can see they are making great pace in the front of the field. Minute 16, wow. I mean, that's a full 2 seconds faster per lap than we are. And I would call where we are in clean air, given the circumstances. So it's not like we can say that we're in the middle of a pack, with 3, 4, 5 cars, and that's what's holding us back. They just have that much pace. Now, it would be interesting to see, okay, what happens if we go into full attack mode, which may be where they are. If we go into full attack mode, how much do we pick up per lap? I haven't been paying very close attention to that during the races. I spend most of my time looking at where we are in the laps and how that correlates to how much fuel we have remaining and how much tire we have remaining for each of the cars. But I would guess we could pick up probably about a half second. So we're still going to be, I would imagine, about 1.5 seconds per lap slower than these guys on equal tire. And that is an astronomical distance to make up. So these guys have some great cars and no doubt great drivers as well. All right, so no pit stops yet, and we're here on lap 18. So looks like everybody's going to run it at least a little bit closer to that lap 20 window. Okay, Colin, he is leading this group of 3, maybe 4 cars in there. He's leading this group and looks like he's doing pretty good. They are a little bit faster than him right now, but again, they might be pushing. We'll just have to see. I mean, the guy immediately in front of him is only running 0.3 a lap faster, but he's on soft tires. We're on hard tires. So that is a huge difference in the grip of the tire. We'll see what the lap times look like as we cross here. And okay, yeah, he's still 0.2 faster, but if you look right behind us in 19th, we're basically breaking even and we're on equal tires. So I believe we've got more pace than the 5 car immediately in front of us. I'm not sure about in front of that, though, ahead of that. But again, we're going to make 1 fewer pit stop than most of these cars with Colin. So who knows? We might pick up a few positions that way. All right, so wow, look at that. The 38 car is running some big time laps right now. All right, let's see if we can try to match that. We've got fuel is pretty close. We're gonna try it. We're here on lap 21, just starting 21. So hopefully we can make that tire. Wow, that's going to be close. Let's try it. Let's go ahead and push. We're not going to be doing that with Colin, but we're going to try to push a little bit. All right, now you see the pit stop starting. We've got our leader coming in. Our leaders are starting to come in, the top 4 or 5 cars. Yeah, here they come. Here they all come on lap 22. And wow, okay, so I think we're going to be okay. The fuel worries me. The tire definitely worries me. I'm going to slow that down. That certainly worries me. We got down to a 17.2, so that's really nice. All right, so let's see how this all shakes out. So we're on 23. Oh, we're on lap 23. I totally missed that. All right, so we're at 16% tire. I'm going to go ahead and push because I think that should end up perfect for this one more lap. And I'm going to turn off the engine using the extra fuel to generate more power because I'm a little worried about our fuel. As we are roughly halfway through the lap, and yeah, we're at 1.6 liters of fuel left. So I don't want to push this completely to zero and risk running out early. Okay, there we go. So we made it. Tire condition was at 10%. So I would consider that basically perfectly executed strategy for now, based on what we're trying to accomplish. Meanwhile, if we look at lap 37 for Colin, that's about 15 laps from now. So we're past halfway in his stint. We're still looking at 52% tire wear. So not bad. We should end up looking really good on his tire. But again, we're not pushing at all with him. So our next pit stop will be on lap 46 for Vincenzo. And you can see he is in some clean air right now. We're back to 12th right now, and that's because we've got some guys who have not yet made their first stop, and they're on medium tires, so it'll be interesting to see how long they take this. But we are looking good. I'm waiting for Vincenzo to come back around and finish his first hot lap on these new tires, and we'll see where his lap times come in. And I'm hoping that we're a good bit faster than these guys that are finishing up their stint on medium tires. All right, so we're crossing the line now. 18.6. Okay, so we're not. These guys must be pushing really hard right now because we're in clean air and we just did not have the pace on that lap. If we keep that up, then the 38 car from behind us will be catching us in short order because he was about 0.6 faster. Let's see, Colin is in the 19s. His fastest lap, 19.1. So that's certainly not going to move us up very many spots. All right, coming back up to Vincenzo, another 18.6. So if we're not pushing, we really don't have the pace right now. These guys are killing us that are running around us and close to us. So we've got some work to do going forward. But again, everybody has not made their first stop yet. So everybody's strategy has not quite been revealed just yet. Now, one of the things I'm interested to try at some point in the future, right now we're getting steady progress and this is netting us a nice amount of points, which is why I'm continuing to do it. But one of the things I'm really wanting to try is at some point is do a real short stint on soft tires. And by really short, I mean because we're going to be pushing like crazy on that stint and go as hard as we can on the soft tires and try to make as much speed as we possibly can. and do a couple of shorter stints there, maybe around half of the tire life that's stated, and then come in with a long stint on either the medium or hard, depending on what the particular track calls for, and just see how that works out and see if that turns out better than what we're doing now. I would be more inclined to do that with Colin at this particular juncture, because we really don't have anything to lose with him. He's not in a points paying position up to this point in any of the races. So, you know, if it turns out badly, then we really didn't lose anything as far as points. All right, so I noticed that there's still several cars out there that have not pitted. We are approaching the halfway point. So that tells me that these guys might be doing a one-stop strategy, which is certainly not good for us, because that's going to keep us well back in the standings if they do that. Because right now we don't have the pace to really run that much faster than them to make up these spots. So a bit of misfortune for us there as this is playing out. But yeah, we just don't have the speed. An 18.6 is not going to cut it if we want to move up, because these guys are a good bit faster, even on the medium tire instead of the soft tire. And here we are on the soft tire, and that is just not looking too terribly good. So we got about 14 more laps in this particular stint. All right, so there we go. Now we've got some pit stops starting to happen, and it looks like they're going to try to do this on one stop, it appears, for the guys who are starting now. All right, so now at this point, let's see, where are we on pit stops? 15th position is the first car that has not made a single stop yet. And of course, we are bringing up the end there. There are 4 cars that have not made a pit stop as of yet. And let's see, where are we here? So we're going to pit on lap 37. We still got 33% tire left. Let's go ahead and do that. And I think we're good on fuel, so let's go ahead and push that as well. So we just dipped down into the 18s. Let's see if we can do better than that on this lap. We are in a lot of traffic here. We got 3 or 4 cars in this little group we're with. So we'll have to see how that affects our lap time, but hopefully we can get down into the mid-18s at least. All right, let's see what we got. Yes, 18.4. Okay, that's good. That's what we want. All right, so let's keep pushing. Again, we're coming in on lap 37. 29% fuel left. We should have enough fuel and enough tire, I think. But we're cutting it close, and that's always the plan, is to cut it pretty close on both of those and try to use up all we can to generate the best lap times that we can. All right, so we just passed with Colin a new lap, 18.3. All right, so he's running some good laps. You notice those around us up to 14th. We're about 0.3 faster there and about equal with 13th. And of course, that's actually a little bit faster than what Vincenzo is running. But again, remember, Vincenzo is not pushing at all. We're trying to save what we can save. And with Vincenzo, it looks like we're going to have enough fuel to push toward the end. But again, we're going to wait a little bit longer before we do that. And I think we're going to be okay. I'm not sure we're going to get to push with the tire because he's at 54%. And we still have less than half to go. But still, to get around that 10% number, we're going to be cutting it pretty close, I think. We might be able to push for a lap, but I'm not sure it's going to be much more than that. All right, now you can see, wow, that is awesome. Take a look at where we are. Let's see, I need to turn off pushing on the engine. But Colin laying down some really good laps right now. 17.9, that is really good. All right, we are running low on fuel. I actually need him to actually save a little bit right now. As he is roughly halfway through the lap, you can see he's got 0.8 liters to go. So we've got him on fuel savings. We're still pushing with the tires. All right, excellent. So we made it, and he's going to come in. We're going to turn off him pushing. So very nice, actually, with those last probably 3 or 4 laps for Colin. He's going to also come out in clean air, so that's going to be great. So he's done with pit stops if all goes well for the remainder of the race. Let's let him get back up to speed. But yeah, he got down into the 17s briefly there, and that is pretty awesome. All right, let's see where we are. Okay, there is the one car who happens to be the leader, Don Collins. No surprise there. So Vincenzo has now been lapped. So this guy has lapped up to 9th position in the race. He is flying. That's the kind of cars you dream of having, and the kind of team you dream of having, with both of the red cars in 1st and 2nd. The blue, lighter blue in 3rd and 4th, but these are the guys that are fighting for the championship, realistically. All right, so both of our cars are in clean air right now. See, we got about 5-6 laps left on the tires here, so let's see. Let's go ahead and start pushing with the fuel. And hopefully we'll have enough extra fuel in the tank to go ahead and make this pushing the entire way. Down to 38% on the tire. I think we're okay to push as we start our next lap, but that's going to be a little closer. So the good news is we're able to push at least one of the two, at least push the engine or the tires. It would be nice to do both of those, but I'm not sure the extra weight from the additional fuel is really worth it to really load up on fuel and push the whole time. But again, that's another one of those strategy plays, something to test out and see if it works out the way you need it to. All right, so we're basically done with Colin from a lap time and a tire and fuel situation. We're done looking at him because we know he's done with pit stops. Right now we're focused on Vincenzo for his final stop. Then once that's done, we can just focus on lap times and track position and seeing where we stack up with the guys around us. Right now you notice Vincenzo is a good bit faster than those around him. So that's nice. That tells me we've got some speed if we can do any pushing at all. And Colin, we're back into the mid-19s now. So not exactly what we're looking for on regular race pace with Colin. But all of our development and projects will eventually work their way down to him as we try to get both cars as strong ultimately as we can. But the focus is going to remain on car number 1, Vincenzo, who is easily the best of the two as far as speed right now. All right, so lap 45. Let's see, we're coming in on 46. Fuel seems fine. Condition seems fine. I'm still a little bit afraid to push right now because, again, we're looking for somewhere between 10 and 15 condition remaining, and it's looking like we're going to be very close to that number. All right, so we're starting lap 6 now. Let's see, let's go ahead and push. I think we're okay at this point to push. We'll have to see, because we're a lap down, we'll have to see how this all plays out, and if we come in this time by, or if we come in after one more lap. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the fuel, pushing on the fuel, because yes, we're going to run one more lap. I was afraid of that. And so now we're going to have to watch this fuel. We're down under 2 liters. I think we're going to be okay. I think. But it might very well be close. We're at 15, 14. Let's go ahead and stop pushing because we're going to end up around that 10% number by the time we get to the end of the lap. Yeah, okay, let's go ahead and continue to push to make sure we make it down to that 10% or thereabouts. All right, here we go. So we're in to the pits. We turn off. And oh wow, there's a lot of cars that just went by us. And now we're going to be right at the very back of several cars. That is not good. That is not where you want to come out. So we're back to 14th. And again, second pit stops for those on a two-stop strategy have started. We'll have to see how this plays out because it looks like that there are several more, because I see a lot of soft tires up here. So it looks like we're going to have a lot more pit stops coming up over the next several laps. So we'll see how all that plays out. But there are some that are possibly on the one-stop strategy. I know we are. Let's see. Who else is on the hard tire? Is there anybody else? Yes. I see car number 2 is on the hard tire. And that might be it. All right, so a quick look here. You can see more pit stops happening. We are now in some clean air, so that's good. Car number 1 back into the pits. That's Don Collins, who has been our leader. So he's back on soft tires now. Or excuse me, he's on medium tires now. So he's going to be going to the end of the race from here on those medium tires. The question is, are those above him going to make it on without making an additional stop? Because he's not all that far behind them. Okay, so 14th and 18th. Let's see, 18.5, where were we at? 19.2, excuse me. We're changing positions there so quickly. I lost track of what our lap time was. So 19.2, again, not great. 19.5, roughly. For Colin, again, not great. So 24, 25 laps left. We're done with pit stops. And it looks like we're going to be fine on fuel. Again, I'm going to wait a little bit longer before I push on that. We've got a nice cushion here. We're in some clean air. So right now, I think everything is basically as good as I can get it. I don't feel comfortable pushing either the tire or the fuel on either of the cars right now. So we're just going to let this ride. And what I'm going to do is something I really don't like to do all that much, but let's go ahead and fast forward a few laps here. All right, so we're on lap 53. Okay, this is going slower than I expected. So there's been another update, another adjustment to that. So that's good. I'm trying to keep an eye out for Vincenzo, who is right here, as best I can keep up with as fast as these cars are going. But this is certainly much slower than what we saw at the very beginning and in our first video when we were looking at this. So this gives us an opportunity. It's going slow enough to give us an opportunity to see exactly where we are. All right, so about 16 laps. All right, let's go ahead and push a little bit with the fuel. Not going to push with the fuel here on Colin's car. So again, 14, 15 laps to go. And yeah, I think we're okay to push. Probably not the rest of the time. But you notice we have made our way up into 6th position and 17th position. So far, so good. Let's see how our lap times stack up. We are, okay, not terrible. Not terrible at all. We're at 18.2. Certainly faster than those behind us. A little bit slower than 5th position and a good bit slower above that. All right, so we're at less than 10 laps to go. Again, it's a challenge in and of itself to try to follow these guys at this fast forward speed. Vincenzo is here, and Colin is here, if you're trying to pick them out. Hopefully the frames per second of the video will not make this worse than it appears on my screen, but you never know. All right, so let's slow it down a minute. We're at 5 or less laps to go. I'm going to turn off pushing here for a moment. I don't think we have any shot. Let's see. Number 26 is who we're chasing. I don't think we can catch him right now without pushing massively. Good news is the guy right behind us is not for position. He's actually a lap ahead of us. All right, let's take a look at Colin. So I think we can get by with pushing him at this point, but let's see. Is it going to be worth it to take that chance? I don't think so. I mean, that's a huge gap there to make up in 3, 4, 5 laps. So I don't see it happening. Let's go ahead and push for a moment on the tires and see if we can't get something. Oh, wait. What happened to the car that was behind us? I know I see the 2 car there. I thought there was another car there. Maybe I missed a pit stop, or maybe I'm just losing my mind at this point in the race. Who knows? But one thing is for sure. All right, so if that's the case, and we have that type of a gap, yeah, there's no reason to really push on either car for that matter. So we're down to 3 laps of fuel remaining, and yeah, that's going to be touch and go. So I'm not going to push that. Tire, we can push a little bit, but again, I don't know that it's going to be really worth it for us to do so. I mean, these guys in front of us are having a battle as we finish up, but I don't think we're going to be able to catch them. But right now, pushing with the tire, we're still at 30% tire with only a couple of laps remaining. So let's go ahead and push with both cars just so we can use all of the tire and get all the lap time that we can. All right, here we go. We're getting down to the end. And let's see, where is the leader? Where is car number 1? I have lost him. There he is. So he's on his final lap, which means everybody is now going to be starting their final lap. So he comes around and he's going to have an easy victory here. You can see car number 2 is going to finish up second, and he is a good ways behind. So here we go. Colin comes by to finish up. He'll be 14th. Again, not bad. Not bad at all things considered. And then we're also going to come home in 6th position. So we're getting pretty comfortable at this spot in the grid. This is really nice. I'm hoping that at the end of the season, this is going to end up with a nice payout for us. You can see in this particular race, we come home in 4th position as a team. Once again, we would need to be in the top 10 to pick up any points. So with Colin, we can start to take some chances and do some other things, some other strategies, and test some things with him because he's not getting us points anyway, so there's not really anything to lose. All right, and after this many races in the season, 4 or 5 races in, you've had an opportunity to see what kind of race pace you have, pushing and not pushing. So we know what our strategies right now will do, and I really like our strategy with Vincenzo right now. I think it's getting us solid points each and every race at this point, so I want to continue with that. All right, so let's go ahead and click on continue. That'll do it for today. Looks like our next race will be in France, and hopefully we'll have at least one new part to put on the car at that point. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue our Let's Play series of Open Wheel Manager.